Welcome to the deep dive. You send us your most intriguing questions, the resources you found.
And we dig through it all.
Exactly. We pull up the key insights, make it efficient, maybe even, a bit entertaining.
Hopefully.
Today, we're really diving headfirst into Jackie Chan adventures. Specifically, that really cool artifact, the Dragon Talisman.
Yeah, this one came from one of you listening. Sent us a load of info from the Jackie Chan Adventures wiki.
So our mission today.
Basically figure out where it came from, what it does, its powers, and trace its pretty wild journey. Think of it as your quick guide to the Dragon Talisman.
Dragon Talisman. Okay, yeah. The name alone sounds powerful, doesn't it? Ancient magic, that kind of thing. So let's unpack this. Where did it even start?
Well, the origin story ties right back to the big bad, Shendu.
Right.
Our source says it was actually created the moment that sorcerer Liu Pei turned Shendu into that stone statue.
Oh, wow. At that exact moment.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Shendu's dragon fire power, his essence, basically separated from him and solidified into the talisman.
Huh. So it's literally a piece of him, not just some random magic rock.
Exactly. It's tied directly to Shendu himself, which makes sense, given the power.
Okay, that is a dramatic origin.
Yeah.
So where did this piece of solidified dragon fire actually turn up?
Well, adding to the whole mystique, it was found in a volcanic cave.
In Hawaii. Seriously.
Yeah, Hawaii. You can't really get much more fiery or, dramatic than that for its hiding place, can you?
No kidding. Sets a real adventure tone right off the bat.
Yeah.
Okay, Hawaii. Volcanic cave.
Yeah.
Epic. But the big question, what does it do? It's not just for show, I assume.
Definitely not. Its main thing. Combustion.
Combustion, so like fireballs.
And then some. It lets the user shoot these incredibly powerful fire blasts, really destructive potential. The wiki source really leans into how strong it is.
Okay, give us an idea, like how powerful are we talking? Any examples jump out?
Oh, yeah. There's one bit where Jade uses it.
Jade. Jackie's niece.
That's the one. She apparently uses a single blast from the talisman and knocks back all 9 Oni generals.
9. All at once.
Uh-huh. With one shot. That tells you something about the sheer force involved.
Wow. Okay, that's serious power. Any other examples?
Maybe even more intense. Jackie uses it at one point to blast a hole right through Shendu's chest.
Through Shendu himself. But isn't he, super tough?
It-
Immortal, even.
He is, yeah, because of the dog talisman that grants immortality. So the source points out, yeah, Jackie blew a hole in him, but it didn't actually harm him permanently.
Yeah.
The horse talisman's healing power just, poof, fixed it instantly.
Okay.
But still, the fact it could do that kind of physical damage, even to an immortal being like Shendu, it really shows the raw power of the Dragon Talisman.
No kidding. So it's
Yeah.
all about that intense fire. Anything else? Any quirks to its power?
Well, one really interesting bit is the power source. Apparently, it draws energy from the user's emotions.
Emotions like anger or something.
Could be anger, determination, fear. It adds this whole psychological layer. Imagine the fire getting stronger the angrier you get.
Whoa, okay. That's complex.
And there's one more thing. Kind of weird. In its very first appearance, just that one episode,
Yeah.
it let the user fly.
Fly, like actually fly, with dragon fire.
Seems like it, but then, never again. The source is clear, only in that debut episode.
Huh. That's odd. Why introduce flight and then just drop it?
Good question, right? Maybe it was too OP, too hard to animate. Or maybe the writers just, forgot or changed their minds. Leaves you wondering.
It really does. Okay, so let's trace its growth. Where does it show up first?
Right, it's history. It debuts in Season 1, Episode 7. Title was Bullies.
Bullies.
Okay.
And Jackie finds it. But it doesn't stay with him long, does it? Classic adventure trope.
Not at all. He finds it in that volcano cave.
In Hawaii.
Right. And almost immediately, the enforcers steal it.
Of course they do.
And then things get a bit weird. Valmont gets his hands on it.
The crime boss.
Yeah, and he decides, pretty much on his own, to fuse the talisman to his hand.
He did what? Fuse it to his hand. That
Yeah.
sounds painful and stupid.
Uh-huh. And what does he do with this incredible power literally attached to him?
Let me guess. Something petty.
Tries to steal money from the U.S. Mint? Totally ignored whatever Shendu actually wanted him to do.
Huh. Okay, that's almost funny. Shindu must have been thrilled.
Not so much. He sent the Shadowcon to get it back pretty quick, so Valmont's power trip was short-lived.
Right, so it ends up back with Shendu, or at least his minions.
Yeah.
But powerful things never stay put in these stories, do they? What happens next?
You got it. Big turning point later on in an episode called The Powers Unleashed.
Yeah.
Jackie actually destroys all 12 talismans, uses this, Full power laser
A
blasts.
laser against ancient magic.
Whoa!
Okay, so destroyed, gone.
Yep, shattered, wiped him out.
So what happened to the Dragon Talisman's power, the combustion stuff?
Well, once the physical talisman was gone, its power, that dragon fire, it went back to where it originally came from.
Back to Shendu.
Exactly. Back to Shendu, the last dragon who is still around. The power returned to its source. Cycle complete, sort of.
Sort of? Okay, what? Sort of does it get more complicated?
Oh, just a bit. Because, time travel.
Ah, time travel.
Yeah.
Of course. Tell me more.
Right, so in J2, Rise of the Dragons, future Jade pops back to the present.
Future Jade. Okay.
And she brings the dragon talisman with her from the future.
Wait, how? If it was destroyed and absorbed?
Future timeline shenanigans, presumably. Anyway, she brings it back to use against Drago, Shendu's son.
Drago. Right. So does she blast him?
That was the plan, I think. Use it against the dragon's teeth he was collecting. But Drago, well, he's a dragon too.
With his own fire breath.
You guessed it. Drago ends up destroying that version of the talisman with his own fire.
Dragon fire versus dragon talisman fire.
Yeah.
Poetic. So it's a gun again.
That specific future one, yeah. Now, it gets a little fuzzy here. The source mentions another future glimpsed in J2 Revised, where the talisman exists.
Ah.
But that future probably doesn't happen because of how things played out. It's likely a negated timeline.
Okay. Alternate timelines. Standard stuff. So let's stick to the main timeline. What's the final fate of the dragon talisman's power, or the talisman itself?
The final fate, before Shendu and Drago got banished forever to the Netherworld.
Right, the very end.
Yeah. The dragon talisman power, still linked to Shendu, was fully reabsorbed back into him.
So it really did go full circle. Started as part of him, became an object, went on this insane journey, and ended up back inside him before he was banished.
Pretty much sums it up. Quite the life story for an inanimate magical object.
No kidding. Okay, so that covers the main history.
Yeah.
Any other, fun facts or trivia from the source? Little details.
Yeah, a couple of neat things. For the real fans out there, the wiki notes that the dragon talisman appears as an Easter egg
Oh, yeah.
in at least one scene in every single episode of Season 5.
Every episode. Wow, that's dedication from the animators.
Tells you how iconic it is, right? Also, Shendu himself says in Day of the Dragon that out of all 12 talisman powers, the dragon talisman's combustion is his personal favorite.
Well, that makes sense. It's his power, originally.
Exactly, it's part of his nature.
Anything else?
Just one small visual thing. It's apparently in the opening credits sequence for every season,
Okay.
except Season 2. In that one, the opening shows Jackie catching Jade playing with it instead of just the talisman floating there.
A subtle change.
Yeah, and even in Season 3, when the talismans weren't really in their usual form for a lot of it, the dragon talisman still showed up in the opening. Really hammers home its importance to the whole show.
Okay, so let's recap quickly. Born from Shendu's petrification, found in a Hawaiian volcano.
Right.
Main power is massive combustion, fire blasts. Oh, and that one-time flight thing.
And don't forget the flight.
Got stolen constantly. Valmont fused it to his hand for a dumb robbery.
What's that?
Destroyed by a laser. Power went back to Shendu, brought back via time travel, destroyed again by dragon fire, and finally fully reabsorbed by Shendu before the end. That's a lot.
It really is an incredible journey for one artifact. And it makes you think, doesn't it? Especially that link to emotions as a power source.
Yeah. What about it?
Well, it kind of leaves you, the listener, with a thought. Imagine if some object in our world had that kind of volatile energy tied to feelings.
Okay.
What would that power actually look like? And maybe more importantly, what kind of responsibility would come with holding something like that? Something to chew on.
Definitely gives you pause. A fascinating deep dive. Thank you. And thanks to you for listening. If you've got a source, a topic, anything you're curious about,
Send it our way.
we're always ready for the next deep dive.